Yes, people, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to this 100k FTMO challenge. We're going to pick up exactly where we left off last week, which is on this last trade here, coming into this brand new week. This week we saw only 3 trades taken on the account, 2 winners and 1 losses. I'm going to break down these trades here. The reason why there's 5 on there is because I split both these 2 trades into 2 different positions as I'm implementing a new profit taking and risk management system. So we'll speak about that in this episode, break down each trade and how beneficial they've been within my trading and how obviously I'm going to continue to use that going forward. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. So the first trade here was on the 13th, which I believe was Monday. Yeah, we had Monday, and then the next trade was on Friday. So we had actually only traded on 2 of the days this week. So not a lot of trading throughout the week. There was opportunities, some missed, and that's fine, but we still made money this week. We are actually 1.5% up on the account this week from that trading, so that's really good to see. And we're finally above that 2% profit target that we've been floating around, so that's nice to see. Hopefully we can use this as momentum to carry on going forward. So as I said, let's get straight into it. So this is the first trade, the before and after, and the reasons for this trade: simply we had a 15-minute liquidity sweep, we had a return into a 1-hour order block, and then after that we had a 5-minute market structure shift with 5-minute displacement and a 5-minute fair value gap that was left behind. As you can see here, this trade was taken during the New York session. So within London we had this move up, taking out liquidity, returning into the 1-hour order block. Price had been trading into premium areas and we were trading above the midnight open, so we were in real premium, and I was looking to take partials on the way down after entering into the trade. This trade I actually split into 2. I had a 0.25 risk that was split into 2 positions, and I was aiming to close one of them at 1-to-1 and hold the second one to a full profit target. The reason why I put 0.25 risk and split it into 2 is because I saw that there was a possible entry on GU as well, which literally looked the same as this, and we had confluence on the dollar that had flipped bullish, so I was happy enough to risk 0.5 position in total, and split that between EU and GU. Unfortunately, I didn't get the entry on EU. I only managed to get it on, I didn't get the entry on EU, I only managed to get it on GU, so that's why it was only a 0.25% risk. That was split into 2. So the after, this is what it looked like. This is the full trade as it planned out, and this actually was really good trade management. We had to hold into the next day. As you can see, price came down to saying this was where we entered. It reacted off this order block up here, came back down, consolidated for a little bit, and then through London the next day it literally just tanked. This was our first TP level here, where we had the second position that was automatically going to close at a 1-to-1, and then the rest of it was obviously going to take partials down here, and then this was the full TP at the previous day low. I actually took a manual partial here at 25% when price broke that level there. Initially this is the level I wanted to take, but can't lie to you, I'll be very, very honest, I didn't want price to turn around, so I decided to take a partial up here rather than over here. Ended up being a very good idea because price then ended up reversing all the way back here and would have taken us out of break even, which we were already on the trade. On this second position, if I get that open, as you can see, this is where we closed automatically because that's where we set our hard TP on that second position, so it automatically closed there. And then this is the rest of the trade. So good way to start the week. Obviously could have squeezed a little bit more profit if I had entered on EU as well, or if I had a larger position on GU, but that's fine. We'll take that to start the week off. The next trade came, as I said, obviously on Friday. These were both long setups, and the first one annoyed me a little bit because I was definitely too early for the trade, and the reason for that is because the day before I saw a potential trade idea which pretty much just left me, and when I was coming into price the next day, it looked like it was a valid setup, but when in true fact it really wasn't. So this was the before. Reasons for this is because we had a return to a 5-minute fair value gap. So as you can see, this side I had marked out. We had sweep of lows, sweep of lows, and we were trading within a discount because that was under the 50% equilibrium of a higher time frame impulsive move. So when this was the previous day's trade on the 16th, right, which was on Thursday. So this is what happened on Thursday within the New York session. Price had that market shift here. I was a bit annoyed because I could have got into it when into that fair value gap. So I was waiting for this 5-minute to get tapped in, but price only tapped into this one here, and that was on like a 4-minute or a 3-minute, and then price moved above. Overall, I probably would have been wrong on the trade because the next day price actually traded lower than that, which is fine, but because obviously we'd have still had a position in there and taken some partials on it. But overall, price came back in within Asia, tapped into the 5-minute fair value gap here. This is what I was looking at during London session. I thought, okay, this is a sweep of liquidity, the market structure shift here, and then we had another breaker structure going upwards. There's a fair value gap there with the order block. That's what I used as an entry, but realistically, without even realizing, I even put it on the chart as well. That was actually just Asia low that price had taken, so that was just creating the low and liquidity for price to then later on come and sweep that, and that's what I should have been waiting for within like the London session. On top of that as well, where I was entering was above the midnight opening price. So if we are bullish and we are going to continue bullish, we want to be buying below the midnight opening price or below or at the midnight opening price, and also below or at the London opening price, which is complete opposite to what I was doing. I was buying above it. So those two confluences in itself should have told me don't enter the trade, but light risk anyway. As you can see, one position split into two, and as you can see, straight took me out. These are the kind of trades I find the funniest because when price does this, it just tells you are completely offside, and when it just takes you out quickly like that, it's frustrating, but at the same time you look at yourself and you think, okay, well, if it's done that and it hasn't respected any of the bullish PD arrays, then you're completely offside and you just shouldn't be in the trade. You just take the loss, take it, and you move on, which is fine. Same with the other position. So as you can see here, that was the before, literally same screenshot, and then over here is what we saw on the higher time frame, because that's what it ended up doing. So this is after I got stopped out. This is what price ended up doing, and as you can see, if I was just patient with it, I marked out Asia low, it's got swept, it was still valid because it was in this order block from the previous day on the high time frame, still within that fair value gap, still within the order block. This was pretty much like 50% of this order block, so the consequent encroachment of that order block. This was still valid because it was within this order block here. Swept the Asia low, which I should have known, anticipated. That's liquidity grab, market shift here. There was a 5-minute, 15-minute fair value gap, and I believe there was a 5-minute entry on that as well, where price had just tapped in and then shot off. So if I was actually patient with it, I would have been fine and got in at New York, but that's okay. We'll move on. This is the final trade that I actually took on the account, which was a really good trade. Had a higher risk on this just because I backed myself on it. actually, sorry, before I move on, so these are some of the comments and notes that I took upon reflection on this trade. So we got into early, we had wrong confirmation and it was taken in London when I should have waited for New York. The positives are that it was a smaller risk on the trade. The dollar still had the higher potential to go, which made sense, as we had price that was possibly looking to take out the Asia lows, and then that meant would have been below the midnight open, and that means deeper discount. So as I said, I was buying this entry, I was buying above the midnight open when I should have been buying below the midnight open. But final trade on the account for the week, which made us our largest profit. Happy about this trade because it was really good trade management as well. And the reasons for this trade is that we had a return to the 15-minute order block. We had a 5-minute liquidity sweep over here when we were about to enter into the New York session. We had a 5-minute market structure shift, and with displacement, we had a 5-minute fair value gap that was left behind. I identified this little order block here before the displacement move up, so that would have obviously been looking to support price as well. Initially, my actual entry was at that candle open, right? But I was looking to market execute anyway, and as you can see here, these are my profit targets. So TP1, move to break even, take 50% off, and then this was the second TP, and then I was going to let the rest run. But when price came below, and as you can see, it just tapped in. So between that low, that high, sorry, and that low there, that's the actual fair value gap I was looking to enter, right, just below. So I was hoping price to come a bit lower, but I've had it so many times where prices come and it taps in and then flies off. So through my experience, through back testing, I've seen that happen plenty of times before, and rather than trying to be too precise on the trade, I thought, okay, let me just get the entry, let me just make sure I'm actually in the trade, and whatever happens, right? For the sake of 1 pip or whatever it's going to be, there's no point me missing out on the trade. So I decided to market execute right there, and as you can see, beautiful entry, minimal drawdown, and this is the after of the trade. So it's just beautiful when price action behaves like this, respects it, and then just flies off. Obviously every single time it's not going to happen like that, but when you do see it happen and all the confluences come together, it's just beautiful to see. As you can see, overall we were into a premium discount, sorry, when we tapped into that 15-minute order block, an OTE level within the high time frame, impulsive move. Everything aligned nicely, ended up going to this final TP here. The reason why I took it here, not any higher, even though GU did run a lot higher as it was the stronger pair within the two and the SMT. It was Friday's trading. I know what Friday trading is like. You just want to be in and out of the markets as quickly as possible. Don't want to be holding for way too long, because price can do anything within that PM session on a Friday. Or it might not do anything at all. It just depends. But I'm going to pay the trader, reduce risk, preserve capital. So this is what we did. I had 1 position actually, sorry, on this, and I just manually closed at 50% there. Took another TP around here, just below that high, and then the final TP was up here, and I let, I think it was like 25% of the position run up to these highs here. So really good position. And overall commentary on this, we had price taking out the high time frame swing high, but not giving a break of structure. This was within EU. So I anticipated a return to the 15-minute order block, which you're looking at here, right? So price had actually taken that high there, but on the lower time frame we didn't have like a market structure shift or anything. So this was the 15-minute order block I was anticipating price to return back into to give a possible reaction. And as long as we can eat on the way up, we don't need to take the full portion of the meat, just what we can. So that's what's happened. Anticipated that return back into the 15-minute order block, which it did. We also had a return to discount prices from the previous swing move. So that to that, as you can see, if you get a fib out to that, we are in deep discount in that OTE. Beautiful to see. Confirmation entry within the order block. As I said, I almost missed the trade by trying to get a very precise entry into the 5-minute fair value gap, but I just decided to get in on the first tap as price moved aggressively before away. There's a good trade management on this, again, taking partials and going into break even. So as we have those, you know, positions here to go break even and to take partials on the way up, and we just let the rest of the trade run up nicely, which is nice to see. So really seeing the benefits of that trade management system, which ICT has been talking about for the longest time. It's been in its teaching since I've been learning, and I just for whatever reason, you know, not being implementing because I wanted to hold the trades all the way, which is not what we're going to be doing as traders. You know, our first two rules as traders is to preserve capital. The second rule is to pay the trader. So longevity, that's how you stay in these markets, by paying yourself as a trader and preserving capital. And that's what I'm really taking forward into my trading in the next couple of months. Yeah, that was that for the recap this week. As I said, right now we are sitting at 2.7% on the account. This is not taking into account some of the commissions for these trades, but we're about 2.7% on the account. Hopefully to use that momentum going forward into the rest of the trading week. Hopefully some opportunities come in next week, we can eat from that. Now that we are above that 2.7%, we are going to be taking 0.5 to 1% risk per trade. Most likely going to be 1%, obviously with the trade management systems. So obviously if I do take a loss then and account goes back to 1%, then we're going to go back to 0.5%, you know, risk per trade. But as it is right now, we are looking good. Don't want to get too ahead of ourselves. We're going to carry on calm, composed trading. Just be patient, wait for our setups, look for what looks clean, try not to get rushed into the markets or jump into anything that we shouldn't be jumping into. But apart from that, guys, hope you took some value from the episode today, and if you have any comments or anything like that, obviously put it into the comment section. Hope you have a good trading week coming forward. I'm probably going to post a market forecast after this video, just to see what I'm looking at for the rest of the week. It's not financial advice, don't take it as that. But anyway, enjoy your weekend, enjoy the trading week. As always, peace, love, see you on the next page.